Okay, with Colin D'Amelio, Last Houseboat is the short film played at the Documentary Film Festival. It is 30 minutes, and it's a documentary about a houseboat in Rhode Island, correct?
Yeah, it's a little wooden box, basically. They used to call it out on the shore of Watch Hill, Rhode Island. Just thought it was always such a unique vessel. I had the opportunity to go out there as a young kid because I knew the family very well and just always thought it was a unique experience and it was a story that deserved to be told.
So you're from Rhode Island originally?
I'm from Connecticut originally, and so is that family. We lived like three houses down the street from each other. But they anchored the boat out in the coast in Rhode Island, so they would keep it at a marina in Rhode Island, and then so in the summertime they would kind of venture out there. But they were from Connecticut as well.
Gotcha. And so, okay, so you're a filmmaker. You made a couple films, and when do you decide to reach out to this family and make a film about them and the houseboat?
That's the thing. I wanted to make a story for years with them, and I had some footage from like 2016, so it's been almost a decade in the making. And the family was always trying to keep it low key because they were kind of in a precarious situation out there as far as what permissions they had and who knew about it and who knew them. So
Regulations, I guess, in creating this boat, I guess, right?
yeah, they were kind of grandfathered in, but
Yeah.
they didn't want to ruffle any feathers if they didn't need to. So the father especially didn't necessarily want to make any videos or broadcasting promotional pieces about this boat, and that was kind of the silver lining of, unfortunately, when they had to destruct it, was he was more willing to talk about this story. So it wasn't until 2022 when unfortunately they had to part ways with it, and that was when we really could tell this story.
Okay, so you kind of go into parts about the evolution of this houseboat. So you kind
Mhm.
of like at the beginning, you give us a historical aspect of it. So what just tell like give us a little teaser. What was his motivation to make this houseboat? The dad.
Yeah, I mean, he says in the doc, he kind of flips off the camera. He said that it was a way for his father to kind of say, screw you, pardon my French, but I'm still here. Because originally they were, I think they called them fish buggies, or that they're originally in the 60s where they would kind of convert cars to be able to go onto the beach in the sand and fish out on these beaches. It was all around fishing. So they started in Cape Cod and all on the eastern coast there, and they would come down, but gradually they started kicking them off the beach because they were ruining beaches. And so this was their way to still be out in the water and still fish, but not disrupt any of the land and the coastline.
So you're friends with the family growing up. They slept in the houseboat, like they and there's like
Oh
a
yeah,
like a
I slept out there a week at a time sometimes as well in the summertime. They were out there, I mean, at least every weekend in the summertime. And then there were some years that Ken, the father, talks about that he was out there for summer, like the whole summer. So he would stay out there and his family would come out on the weekends and he would just stay out there. And Matt, his son, actually had the similar experience. And I got to see him a couple times when he was out there for one summer because he taught sailing in Stonington, Connecticut, which is right on the border in Rhode Island where they were. And so he would just take his boat, his center console out to go sailing during the day and come back and stay there at night for the whole summer. So he was out there for several months.
okay, so if you want to make this film, you did one film before the Mayfair,
Yep.
film before this one, and then you jump into this film. You got some stock footage. Obviously, you got footage from 2016, but you also kind of get some other shots. You do a couple of interviews. Did you have like a game plan, exactly what you wanted to do in this film? Did you know it was going to be 30 minutes?
No, originally I thought it was just going to be like a short 5 minute vignette, like video for the family that I would share with them. And then I'd selfishly get to, like get more experience, making film. And then, the parents and the family were like, well, you should talk to this person, you should talk to this person, and here's all this footage. And then they started giving me, like, they had all this VHS footage that we were able to digitize, which was amazing, of them out there throughout the decades. So it really just kind of developed into this thing. And then, like, the interviews, like the other brother, Mario there, once we added his interview, it almost added another 5 minutes alone. And then there was some really great stuff, some of it which we didn't even include, but I feel like it was so necessary. So it really kind of developed over time. And that's what I talked about when we shared some of this with people, that, you really don't have a solid script going into a documentary. Like, you have a story and
Yeah.
the script you kind of find, and the story you kind of find along the way. And, we set out to tell a story about this houseboat, and it really became a story about this family. So.
It's also a story about the area. It's almost like that's a character in itself.
Sure, yeah, it's such a unique area and such a beautiful area, and that's why they felt so lucky and spoiled that I think the father says it or the uncle does that they got it on beach property, the cheapest way possible, and all these mansions over there didn't have the view that they had because they had an unobstructed view of the water and the ocean, so it was a pretty sweet life for a while.
And this is part of your childhood too, right? So you have this nostalgia memories of this area as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was out there as a kid. I mean, we'd be playing Monopoly in the kitchen and in the houseboat, and it was such a great summer vacation because, again, you felt like you had your own private beach, and we would explore. They had some old military forts on the beach there that me and Matt would explore and go into town and watch Hill, and it was just a very unique experience. Which, again, I think it resonates with people because we all have different family traditions that we may have had growing up, and this was just such a unique version of that.
Because later on in the film, where you show that they take down the houseboat, it's sort of sad in a way. As an audience, we like the houseboat. We want to see it around forever.
I know, and that's what I was hoping to build to. I mean, when you tell a story, you want to make sure you answer like, so what? Like does it have an
Yeah.
impactfulness? So I hoped that I build enough character to this family and to this boat that it really did have a emotional climax when it was destroyed, and I feel like we did build to that. I mean, the family was definitely emotional when they watched it, so that was.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like their opinion was one of the few opinions I really valued and cared about because, this is their history. So it was great to see how much emotion it evoked out of them.
So how was the editing experience? Did you do it yourself? Did you edit the film yourself?
Yeah, I edited it myself, which was crazy because it evolved so much over time from 5 to 10 to 20 to 30
Yeah.
minutes. It just became such a big project and a mixed media project as well with so many different assets. So it was really daunting, like coming in and cutting it, and breaking it up into parts really helped because you could focus on, okay, this is part one, like let's make this perfect, and move on to other parts. So you could like make mini movies in themselves, but that didn't even come till later. So it was kind of daunting just looking at a 30-minute timeline sometimes and just trying to piece everything together. But it was a great learning experience, and I definitely took a lot away from it.
So what are you working on now?
A lot of stuff, doing a lot of writing, and I'm part of a program with CBS where we'll be making a 5-minute video for a nonprofit company. But I'm really excited to push my next short film that I want to do some crowdsourcing for that is involved more with my faith and some community aspects, people in my faith. So we're hoping to do some crowdfunding for that at the end of this year and hopefully start filming at the end of this year as well.
And your faith is?
Well, I'm a Catholic, but it's more about being Christian and possibly the people and leaders that we look up into our church struggling with faith and having the same problems that we face as humans. So it's really a piece about that and as being a human and having those themes of faith as well. So,
Are you based in California now?
yeah, I'm out of Long Beach, so still LA County, but yeah, we're over here on the West Coast, and that was one of the main challenges with the last houseboat because the family and everyone is from the East Coast, so it was a lot of coordinating with that as well. But thank you for taking the time. It's been a really great interview.
Yeah, man, it's like a really cool film. I'm like, you saw the opportunity to make a cool, like I said, it's so interesting because he's so close to it, the dad, but it's so unique, right? Like you said, it's like this is real prime real estate, and he just makes his own boat and puts it in the water. Can't get away, can't do that now, right? In today's world.
Yeah, it's a very unique experience. And there's some similar people like, oh, I've seen some of these boats other places, but the location where it was, they were the last one left, and it was very unique to their family and to their experience. So,
all right, man, let's talk again when you make your next film.
Sounds great. I appreciate you taking the time.
The chain of events that led to like my brother and I's like adult careers and how you could link it back to this quirky cabin on the water, right? It's I don't know, it's kind of beautiful.